The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation, make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels, operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Thatcher, Arizona, on your new fire apparatus, job number 31057. Please utilize this job number when referencing your vehicle with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting with the front bumper, on the lower section you have two open-ended tow hooks. On the face of the bumper there is a right and left air horn. Mounted in the center there is an electronic siren. Moving up onto the top, you'll find tub storage. Inside the tub storage, you'll find an 1.5 inch swivel discharge and also Velcro straps on the top to secure your hose. On the outer edge, you'll find your marker light or turn indicator. On the lower section here, your headlight cluster with the high beam on the inside, low beam on the exterior. Moving up to the next set of cluster here, you'll find your right and left turn indicator and an emergency warning light. Moving up onto the windshield, you'll find 3 windshield wipers, in addition with a seamless front windshield. Moving up to the top of the apparatus, you'll find 5 lights on the brow of your apparatus that are running lights. Located at the very top, you'll find your emergency warning bar. And located directly in the center, you'll find a fixed forward-facing floodlight. Here are some general pictures that are close-ups of these areas that we just talked about with the headlight cluster and the turn signal cluster. In addition, with your marker light, a portion of your fire department logo that you can see on the left. Let's take a look at the front bumper area. As we look from a different camera angle looking down into that front tubbed area, you'll find your 1.5 inch tubbed swivel here for hose storage, in addition with the Velcro. Underneath, you can see your tow hooks. On the side of your bumper, you'll find an additional warning light. Let's go ahead and take a look at the driver's side of the apparatus, and we'll talk about some of the components within this area. First, let's take a look at the mirrors on the right and left side. You'll find at the very top of your mirror, you have a flat section. On the lower portion of the mirror, you'll find it is convex. These are controlled from within inside the driver's area. On the step moving into the cab of the driver's seat, you'll find this air inlet in addition with a step and work light. Looking down at the wheel and tire, you'll find you have Goodyear G291 tires. In addition, located in the very center, you'll find your Stemco visual indicator for your hub. Let's go ahead and move back up to the body. In the center in yellow, you'll find your auto eject shore power inlet. We'll now discuss some of the components within your pump panel area. Let's go ahead and start in the upper left-hand corner. There are color-coded discharges. It's a 2.5 inch discharge. This is discharge number 1. There is also a warning label here regarding pressurized caps and the hazards associated. Located in the center is your large diameter intake. Moving down once again, an additional 2.5 inch discharge. There is a gauge here. It is also color-coded. As we move down, this is your foam draft for drafting of foam. There is also a pickup hose down at the lower section. You're also going to find your drains associated with each one of the discharges and other functions. As we move to the right-hand side, you'll find your 2.5 inch auxiliary inlet with this hand valve. Let's go ahead and move up to the side section of your apparatus. You'll find this netting area which houses your crosslays. Let's talk about those crosslays. Before we do that, as those hoses come out, there is a possibility of entanglement and there is a hazard warning label. You have crosslay number 1, which is a foam water crosslay in yellow. On the other side, you have crosslay number 2, water foam in white. And as we move to the center lever, this will allow you to lift this and allow the crosslays to be pulled in the outward position. Here's a demonstration of lifting that. This will allow both of those number 1 and number 2 crosslay holders to be removed from the apparatus. This is the upper section here. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's behind this compartment. When this roll-up door is in the open position, this is the location you'll find of your pump information and pump controls. Let's go ahead and start in the upper left-hand corner and talk about these components. At the very top, you'll find this light. If illuminated, you've engaged your pump properly. On the very left-hand side, this is information regarding your Husky system for your foam and directions. Located in the yellow placard area, this is your Foam A tank vision. Moving to the right, you'll find your master intake. Moving further to the right, you'll find your master discharge. And just beneath those two, you'll find the 2 ports. These are for test ports, and they are vacuum and pressure. Moving to the right-hand side, you'll find your PCM fault. This is a yellow or amber indicator, and just beneath that, you'll find an audible speaker that is adjustable as a warning device. Let's go ahead and look to the lower section here. These are going to be all of your discharge valves. In the upper left-hand corner, you can see that you have a variety of different discharges from purple, yellow, white, and pink. These are all compliant for foam and water. They are all locking valves. And let's go ahead and talk about the next section over, which is your primer for your fire pump. Moving further to the right-hand side, this is going to be your passenger side 2.5 inch pre-connect in green. And as we move to the far right, we'll talk about this device in the next set of images, and we'll talk more in depth about that. Once again, this is your primer for your fire pump. And now let's talk a little bit about this device. This is your pressure governor and throttle control. Upper left-hand corner, you have a check engine light that can illuminate if the engine needs to be checked. There is a digital readout for your RPM, or on the far right-hand side, this is a stop engine light. Moving down to the next section, this is engine information regarding temperature, pressures, battery, and fuel. Down to the next section in blue, you'll find your water tank level. In the upper right, in red, you'll find a silence if you have an audible alarm. The next section down will be your menu to scroll through the various menus. The next section is lower in the black section. It is either in pressure control, or on the other side, it is in RPM, or referred to as throttle control. In the blue section, this is going to be your control modes. You'll also find in the center between that and the preset a throttle ready. When indicated or lit, you can go ahead and increase the throttle. To the right, you'll find your presets if you choose to set presets within your apparatus. And at the very bottom, you'll find your throttle control and push for idle. Let's go ahead and move down to the next section on your pump panel. We'll start in the red section here. This is your Husky Control Center. This is what controls the foam on your apparatus. And you can see in this pink, this is your deluge discharge. As we move to the right-hand side, this is going to be your number 2 passenger side discharge. This is an electronic Acron valve. And as we move down to an additional Acron valve for your large diameter. In the right-hand side, this is going to be your real discharge in the tan or brown color. And moving all the way to the far side, this is your passenger rear discharge. Moving all the way to the very left side of your pump panel, you'll find your tank fill and recirculating line. And also just to the right, you'll find your tank to pump. Let's go ahead and move back up to the very top. This is a close-up of your Husky foam system. This is the operating instructions and procedures for that. Let's go ahead and move all the way down to the very bottom. You'll find your Pierce maintenance operation schedule for 150, 200, and 250 PSI, and the associated RPMs for that. Let's go ahead and look at the very bottom section here across the bottom. These are all going to be your drain valves. In addition with the ones up on the very top, those are also drain valves. Let's go ahead and take a look at behind the compartment door here. You're going to find your foam handle here for horizontal operations and move to fill to the upright. This is also the location of your manual pump shift override. Let's take a look at the left-hand side of the pump panel. You're going to find your driver's side floodlight, passenger side floodlight, reel rewind, and you have 3 potential future switches. Let's go ahead and take a look at the general side of your apparatus. We'll talk about some of the compartments. Let's first look at the very top.
This is a side-facing floodlight. At the very top, you're going to find a rear emergency or warning light, and at the very top, a marker light. Let's go ahead and talk about the compartments that encompass this area. First, starting in the upper front area, this is going to be a marker. In addition, when you open this compartment, you'll find your DEF fill location. This is a 4.5 US gallon tank. It's a blue cap. Just above the rear tire, you'll find your emergency warning light. Moving to the very back section here, you're going to find your diesel fill. Once this is open, you'll find that this is a silver gas cap here for your diesel fuel. Let's go ahead and take a look at the top compartment here. Once this compartment door is open, you're going to find this area for tool locations and a mounting board for your tools on the back wall. We're now going to look at the very rear section of your apparatus. When this compartment door is in the rolled up position, you'll find a fixed adjustable shelf at the very top. At the very bottom, just beneath this, you'll find your two folding wheel chocks. Looking at the rear section of your apparatus, the light cluster houses a backup, turn, and a brake light. There are also various work lights or step lights in this area. Moving up to the next spot, you'll find an emergency warning light. There are 4 warning lights in the back of your apparatus. Moving up, you'll find your license plate holder and license plate light. Moving just inward of that location, this is the storage location for your ladders. As we look further up, you'll find once again a warning light similar to the ones down at the lower section. Just above that, a work light. And then we'll also find a compartment storage on the left and also on the right side. In the very bottom, you'll find this pull down, which turns into a deck step. Gains access behind this roll-up door. As we move up further on to the top above the roll-up, you'll find your traffic advisor. And further up from the traffic advisor mount in the very center, you'll find your reverse or backup camera. Moving over to the right-hand side, you'll find an additional discharge. You're also going to find a variety of different warning and hazard labels in this area. Please make note of those. We'll talk a little bit about the configurations and how to raise and lower your ladder. And at the very top, this additional compartment at the very top section near the ladder area. And at the very top, you'll find your ladder rails for gaining access to the top of the truck. Let's start down at the very bottom of your apparatus. You can see that there is an attachment point in the very back. As we move, here's a close-up of your light cluster on the left-hand side, with the very last one in the very bottom should be the reverse, turn, and brake at the top. Here's a subsection here of your lights. Let's take a look behind this compartment door. You'll find your ladders in this compartment. There is a 14-foot roofer and a 24-foot extension ladder. Moving further up on the left of this compartment, you'll find your long pole storage in addition with folding ladder. Let's move all the way across to the very center location here. You're going to find your discharge in the upper right-hand corner, traffic advisor and backup camera. This is your passenger side rear discharge. As we look all the way to the top of your apparatus, we'll find a various combination of discharges in this location, and you're also going to find your hose divider bed. When this compartment door in the center is pulled down, you can see it gains access as a step location. There is also a center-mounted fixed shelf in this location that is adjustable. This is going to be the upper right-hand corner. Once again, long tool storage. You'll also find just beneath this area your rear scene light on-off switch. And let's talk a little bit about the configuration of your ladder. Currently, it is in the stowed position, which is up tight against the apparatus. The first thing you're going to want to do is a variety of different latches here. One, pull the latch away to remove the ladder from the side of the apparatus, which is part of the extension for step 1. Be cautious, this may cause pinching. There are the 2 levers on the side that allow it to move away from the apparatus. Once you've done that and it's secured in its locked position, there is also a bottom latch which will allow the ladder to extend fully downward. This is allowing it to be in its full usable position. Now we'll gain access to the very top, and we'll take a look at the hose bed. Looking at your hose bed, you can see the center dividers here. There are also a 2.5 and a 1.5 inch discharge ports here at the very front or bulkhead area. You have lighting, LED lighting on each side of the apparatus hose bed. There are also compartments that are closed and latched, in addition with hard shell covers with the diamond plate. As we look at the very center of this compartment, you'll see at the very bottom there is also dry deck material and also LED lighting. Looking just forward of these two discharges, you're going to find your water tank fill and also your foam tank fill. Also in this location, you'll find a work light that points toward the back of the hose bed. Just forward of the light, you're going to find your booster or red line, in addition with your deluge. Here's an additional images of that compartment open with the 2.5 and the 1.5 inch discharge ports. Let's go ahead and move around to the right-hand side of the apparatus. We'll talk about the top. As you can see in the left-hand side where the handrails are, there is an emergency warning light at the very top, in addition with a marking light. As we move to the middle of this section, you'll find a side-mounted floodlight. And just forward of this location, you'll find the area where your red line or booster line has the ability to be pulled off to the side with its guides. Let's go ahead and go back to the very rear section of your apparatus, to the very first compartment. This large compartment has a roll-up door. Once we gain access into this door, you'll find at the very bottom a pull-out style shelf and a mounted fixed adjustable shelf in the middle. To access that lower shelf on the right-hand side of the wheel bearings, you'll find the latch, which allows you to depress to allow this shelf to move in the outward position as it's shown here. Let's go ahead and move forward to the next section. Near the rear wheel, you'll find two compartment doors here, or access doors. Both of these are identical compartments. They hold bottle storage in them. Once the compartment door is open, this compartment will hold approximately 3 SCBA bottles. It also has the straps for safety while removing those bottles in case that door is to come dislodged. In the center between these two locations, you'll find an emergency warning light just above the rear tire. This is the front section of that same location, same style, just flipped in the opposite position. Once again, you have 3 bottle storage locations with the straps for safety. As we move down in this image, you'll see the marker light on the side. Just beneath that marker light, you'll find a warning label regarding the diesel exhaust and the hazards associated with the hot diesel exhaust, and be aware of where you're parking your vehicle. Let's go ahead and move to the top compartment here. In this compartment, roll-up door once again. As we reveal what's inside, you're going to find a tool board inside this area. It is a pegboard. It is also adjustable front for moving in or outward. Once that door is open and the pegboard is in the outward position, there is a locking mechanism on the hinge side, which will allow the door to remain in its open position. To restore this, just simply lift this pegboard latch, and it will allow the pegboard to swing inward and latch to its original position. Let's go ahead and take a look behind the large door here where we were talking about the diesel exhaust. When this door is rolled open, you can see on the very bottom, similar type rollout type shelf on the bottom, and in the very top section or midsection here, a fixed adjustable shelf. This rollout shelf has the same mechanism for allowing it to move in the outward position. Depress the lever here on the right-hand side of the ball bearing wheels, and you allow this shelf to pull the outward position. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the midship area here. This is going to be behind the netting. It's the exact same layout as it is on the opposite side. This is once again a through compartment. There is a number 2 crosslay, water and foam, and also your number 1 crosslay, water and foam. There's also a warning label here regarding entanglement, and this operates the same with the latch, allowing you to lift that latch. Once it's lifted, those 2 individual hose carriers will be able to be pulled out and loaded at ground level and then restored back to their positions. You're looking at the top section here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the pump section down just below. As we start here, you'll find your large diameter intake. As we move to the right-hand side, you'll find an additional warning label. This is once again regarding pressurized caps and the hazards associated. Moving further down, you'll find a 2.5-inch discharge. This is an automatic valve which is controlled on the opposite side. Therefore, it has an override which is located here requiring a tool. On the very left-hand side lower section, you'll find your cab lift. We'll talk about that in the next set of images. And on the right, your large diameter discharge, and it also has an electronic valve, so there is an override. The very bottom section, there are 3 individual discharges or bleeders for those individual intakes and discharges. Generalized view of the side of your apparatus. Let's first now move to the driver's side of the vehicle. Let's talk about the doors. Inside the doors, you'll find a warning label at all access points regarding the use of seat belts. And also underneath every door and access point, you'll find perimeter lighting. Moving just inside the cab area, generalized view of the operator seat. Overhead of the operator, we'll talk about the components in each of these locations. Let's go ahead and start with the very outer section here. This is going to be your Pro charging system. It's an indicator for your batteries. In the right knee area or ankle area of the operator, you'll find a warning label regarding diesel exhaust. Just beneath that, you'll find a caution regarding equipment damage and the use of your service manual. On the right side in yellow, you'll find this label. This is manufactured by Pierce. This gives your information on the date of manufacture, the job number associated with this vehicle, gross vehicle weight rating, in addition with tires, rims, and also cold tire inflation. At the bottom, you'll find your VIN number. The VIN number is also located on the A-pillar driver's side and also all of your fluid capacities. As we move forward into the cab, let's go ahead and talk about these components first. At the very top, you can see in the green, this is a diagnostic port. In the upper left-hand side, this is your switch, which is your battery, quarter turn on-off in silver. This is your ABS diagnostic, DPF regen, engine diagnostic, and engine inhibit. Let's move up from this location here to the top dash area. On the left-hand side, you're going to find your ignition and start switch. Moving to the right, about the right knee area, you'll find your flat mirror and your convex mirror controls for both right and left. Once again, on the left-hand side, the small switch EM stands for Emergency Master, your headlight switch, and your panel dim switch. On the right of that, you'll find your OK for high idle and the high idle on or engage switch. Let's take a look at the dash cluster. Starting on the left, you have your transmission, oil, DEF, and water temperature. In the center, you'll find your tachometer and speedometer. There are also lights that illuminate if there are issues concerning or checking your vehicle throughout the area above the clusters. And on the very far right-hand side, you'll find your volts, front air, rear air, and fuel. In the center, in the yellow area that's illuminated, you'll find your miles and a clock. Let's go ahead and look to the right once again. These are your mirror controls. From this location, if you look upward to the center console, that'll bring us to your center console. As you can see at the very top, the Pierce, it says E1, which is your pump pressure. Just to the right of that has your tank vision for water and also your tank vision for foam, in addition with your stationary OK to pump while rolling, water pump and foam system, your engine on-off for the brake, your brakes high, medium, low, air horn, electric horn, mirror heat, and load manager. Located on the left-hand side, you'll find your system parking brake, pull to apply, push to release. You'll also find your Allison transmission pad, pump and neutral. In the upper right hand corner, you'll find your monitor for your reverse camera. Just down from that location, you'll find your windshield wiper washer, which is a push, and the turn would be for the speeds. Moving back over to the center, you'll find your climate control. In the gray is the heat and defrost, the red is heat, and the blue is AC. Another image here of your zone defense, which is your backup camera. Above the operator's head, you'll find this yellow indicator plaque. Let's talk a little bit about this plaque. It regards to the height, length, and gross vehicle weight rating. In addition, it has your job number. This is coming from the measurements from Pierce as it is outfitted. Overhead, you'll find your emergency master, front flood, driver's side and passenger side flood, and rear scene. Moving to the right, this is your electronic siren and PA system. Moving further to the right-hand side, you're going to find your traffic advisor. This powers the lights in the rear. And moving in the very center of your apparatus, easily accessible from all seats, you can see the indicator for your seat belts, red indicating someone's occupying the seat but not belted. Located directly in the center, you'll find this light, a puck-style light. It is a do not move the apparatus. When illuminated, you have a door ajar or compartment open. Looking back, you have two SCBA forward-mounted seats, in addition with a center console roll-up door. On the driver's door, you'll find 4 electric window controls, and all of the other doors, you'll find a single window control. There are also latches and handles, in addition with warning labels associated with safety. Let's go ahead and take in the rear section. The red handle in the center of the hinged area is to allow for access by pulling and holding yourself up and down into that seat. You can see in this location, looking in through the cab, there is the forward-facing seat on the both passenger and driver side, and just in front, you'll find 2 rear-facing SCBA seats. Let's talk about the compartment located just between the 2 of these, just above that diamond plate. This is your center access for gaining access for your daily checks for oil and transmission fluids. When this door is open, you can see there is a light inside that can turn on and off. Let's go ahead and look just above this location, and you'll find you have 12-volt access here. These are barrel-style plugs, both on the right and left-hand side of the apparatus rear seats. Located behind the passenger seat, you'll find your onboard air compressor. This is for your air brakes and maintaining supply pressure. Located in the center, you have that roll-up door in the very middle. When this door is rolled up, you're going to find that there are 2 adjustable shelves in this location. In addition, with at the very bottom, some additional wiring, 12 volt. Taking a look at those SCBA seats, you can see that they're center-mounted SCBA bottles with breakaway headrests. They're both on the passenger side and also on the driver's side. Generalized view of the 4 seats that are in the rear section of your cab. Let's now move to the very front passenger seat. You can see on the door once again, you have a warning label in addition with your pull and latch and window regulator. Looking into the cab here, you have an adjustable air ride seat. The controls are located within the next image here that I have a close-up for on the left-hand side of the person sitting in the seat. Let's go ahead and look as if you're sitting in the seat. This would be about the right knee location, front section of the cab. This is your fill for windshield wiper. Looking in the center, you have additional 12 volt access here, barrel style. There are 2 plugs located here. Just on the front, you'll find an air horn button. Let's go ahead and look overhead of the passenger seat. Generalized view here overhead. You can see you have a couple of blank plates. Those plates can be used for future equipment. But let's look at the plate that currently has the front flood located on the far left-hand side, in addition with future switches. Looking overhead once again from that seat, you can see this is that puck-style light for your warning of individual compartments or doors are open. Congratulations, Thatcher, Arizona, on your new apparatus, job number 31057. If you have any questions as to the content of this video or any further questions, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and have a nice day.